Anderson was going to miss. She said she had a conflict that she couldn't get out of, and Commissioner Anderson, I'm assuming, will be here. We're going to go on and start the meeting, and when he gets here, he can start the vote. Okay, so we got two absent at present, and then it's prayer. Let's pray. Our Father, who art the hope of all the earth, remember us in love and guide us by thine wisdom. We ask thee to grant blessings upon thy servants, our community leaders, our county mayor and commissioners, our city mayor and councilmen. Grant us with wisdom, goodness, and truth. May law and order, justice and peace prevail. Defend our liberties, preserve our unity, protect our county. To the honor of thy holy name. Amen. First item is approval of the September 17th, 2024 Rules and Legislative Committee minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Public comment period. County Mayor said no one signed up. I didn't see any out on the table, so does anyone like to speak early? Being none, we'll go to the next item. Is consideration of placing the October 8th, 2024 Commission minutes on the November 12th, 2024 Commission agenda.
Move to approve without a recommendation.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The third item is consideration of placing the notary applicants on the November 12th, 2024 County Commission agenda as requested by County Clerk Donna Thomas.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, approval reports. The first one's a veterans report, and I think there were 50 veterans that had come by the office in September, and 63 had been transported to VA hospitals. And Mr. Ely, we'll let you bring us up to date.
Yes, sir, the numbers are correct. So 50 came in the office, 82 claims were actually filed to the VA. And the transportation itself. So I've added a little bit of more information in here for everyone to look at, just to kind of enlighten you some numbers I've been working on since I've taken into this position. One of them talks about Tennessee as a whole. The other one talks about the different regions through how Tennessee Department of Veterans Services has broken down Tennessee into 4 different regions. And then the other one is Bedford County particularly. And if the numbers, if you look at just Bedford County alone, these are veterans that are reported using the VA and also by the U.S. Census Bureau American Community Survey, also by the FFIEC Home Mortgage Disclosure Act. So through home loans, TRICARE, which is it's a retiree health benefit that we get, compensation, pension, education, vocational rehabilitation, Medicare expenses, all that added up, veterans who have used the VA and are using the VA, we're bringing in $75 million just to Bedford County. And that's something that, like I said, I've been working on downstairs, but our database does not have the capability what Tennessee Department of Veterans Services has. They've actually got an interactive map on their webpage where you can click on each county, all the surrounding counties, and compare median income versus how many veterans are being reported living in the county. And these are not veterans that have nothing to do with the VA. These are only the numbers of veterans who are using the Veterans Affairs. So there's still hundreds of veterans out there that have never used the Veterans Affairs. Out of Bedford County, we have reported 2,782 veterans. And in our database downstairs, we're reporting 961 of those veterans who have used our services in the county. So like I said, I just wanted to compile a bunch of information. Tennessee Department of Veteran Services beat me to the punch, but this is so you can kind of get a broader scope on what the veterans bring in and how we do stuff for the veterans. If there's any questions?
Well, we go on down, I guess it's still in our county. We're going to mention the compensation and pensions were 23 million.
Yes, sir.
And then the education vocational rehab is 1.2 million. And Medicare, I guess here in the county is 19.1 million.
Yes.
So that's quite a bit of money that's coming here in our county involving our veterans, and it's money that they certainly deserve. And it was good. Thank you, sir, for the report, because it was good to compare it. Of course, they're spending trillions of dollars, nationwide, and they should be. They need to take care of our veterans. They've taken care of us, put their lives on the line in many instances. But
Mr. Chairman.
anybody have any questions for Mr. Ely?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. So if you've got 961 people who've been in there and there's 2782 is the total, that's about 30%. Are they not aware, or tell me how you're going to do outreach for that?
So the veterans, through Gary Leverett, they do a radio show through, WLIJ every morning, every week or something like that. Twice a week, thank you. Yes. So they kind of push the word that way. We advertise on the Bedford County Facebook page and the webpage as well, but people still don't know that we're downstairs. I've had 2 people within the past 3 weeks come in and say, we don't know that you're down there. It's a free service that the county hired us in to provide for veterans. So that way we can help them file claims to the VA.
And you said earlier that you didn't have the hardware to access the veteran state information, or maybe I misunderstood what you.
No, so the database that we use downstairs is, we don't have the capabilities to come up with all of these numbers and the demographics and everything. So the state itself is looking at replacing our database with a new one. That's why we didn't have to pay for it this year.
Gotcha. So they'll roll into their database, so you've got, every county has the
That's
same
what I'm hoping,
info.
yes.
Okay, good.
Any other questions for Mr. Ely? Thank you, sir. Appreciate your service. Okay, the next one is for our information only. Of course, we generally go to the community clinic. Last month, they saw 97 medical patients. Community clinic did, and I think there were 88 in the dental report. Anybody have any questions or comments concerning the clinic report? This is just for our information only. Being on the ag report we got was, I think they met, and I think it was here when we got here, so
Months from the night before. This is that one weird month where it doesn't meet with the calendar with the commission where we turn the minutes in. So we had a meeting last night. This is actually last month's. And unfortunately, we didn't have a quorum last night. We went over some stuff, and I had several guys in the hayfield getting hay. That's what it was, Rob. Some of them didn't make it last night. But anyway, this is the month before, and nothing really new here. To speak of, we did get a Blue Fair. I did donate a refrigerator. Our refrigerator broke. He donated a refrigerator to the Ag Center, so we didn't have to buy one. That was nice of him. And we're talking about doing that gazebo I think we talked about before, and now I'm going to hold off on that because the fair might have some other ideas, and I'm going to let go with them.
Yep.
So that may be what we do with the gazebo then, is I'm going to get with the fair board, and we're going to do something together about that. That's something they were looking into too, so that's what we're going to try to do on that one, and pretty much that was about it. And hadn't had anything break this month. That's always good. Anytime there's not a pipe breaking or something going wrong, that's a good day.
absolutely.
Cold weather's coming. The one thing I'm told Helen we're going to do this year is when it gets really, really cold, it may cost us a little money and power. That building, the pipes are in the ceiling. And the problem you run into when it gets really cold is we're going to have to just leave the heat on, folks, and eat it because I can't have that anymore. So when they built the building, I wish the pipes were below the slab, see, but they're not. They're up here. So when it gets really cold, you have pipes bursting everywhere because of the way it was done. But maybe if we leave the, the heat on, costs us a little money in utilities, that's better than
Be
the
cheaper than
expenditure,
repair.
of new ceilings and all that stuff. So that's one thing we're going to really watch for this winter. That's 2 winters in a row we've had breakages that were pretty severe.
Is there gonna be an equipment sale out there?
Mhm.
Do you know when, they generally have one in the fall and the spring?
Generally, they
don't
have 2 of them. They have one right around Thanksgiving in November,
Is it still
and
playing?
it's still planned, and we have another one the end of February.
Okay.
And that's one thing, Linda, if y'all don't mind me mentioning, all y'all on finance, we do have a tractor I need to get surplus. It's where we bought the other tractor, and that sale's the perfect place to do it and get the most money. Would be that Mahindra tractor we've got out there. And we might have a manure spreader we'd like to surplus, but they want to surplus it, but I'm gonna be honest with you, it don't work. So I don't know how you surplus something that's broke, but maybe we can, maybe somebody wants it and they'll fix it.
We just need to tell them it's broken.
Well, I mean, we'll be upfront with that, but
Okay.
definitely need to get that tractor surplus.
Well, if that sale's in November, are you looking at the November sale or the,
Either one, it won't matter.
I think 30 days to
Whichever
get it
one we could do,
surplus?
yeah.
We got to do process.
We need to work on it, and we can do it in February, it's fine too.
Yeah.
Actually, they told me stuff brought better in February last year
does.
than it did in November, so we might be better off to wait, because last year's stuff was higher in February.
Okay.
Ma'am? Yes, ma'am. The tractor works. It does have an issue with the PTO, is the issue with the PTO. The PTO works. The problem is the PTO doesn't want to turn on. And to get the parts from Mahindra, you got to use it. You can't, like with the John Deere, there's some things you can do with parts. You can part swap, do these things. With this particular tractor, And they didn't make many of them, and it's an odd size. It's a 4,500, and parts are just impossible. Impossible to find. That was why we upgraded to the John Deere, which you can move parts around and do some different things with that. And the guys at the county, if something goes wrong with it, can work on that. But with a Mahindra, it's a whole nother ballgame.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, being done, we'll go on to, old business, bylaw reviews. We got that, in our packet, last Tuesday. I went through it, then, and I had some questions, and, I don't know where we'll do this. I don't know if we need to go through them individually. We sort of have.
I would like to hit them each and then us clean it up and this be it. That's always my dream, but,
Okay.
be just, one thing to point out on the first page, and the mayor is here too to help me, we had talked about the agenda in section C, order of business, but, that stays the same. There's nothing changed that we hadn't talked about until we get over to page 5, and it's this conflict of interest. There has been some changes, and so it took out what we had. This is what Charlie Curtis sent us to put in this section, where it's a county commissioner who's a county employee or whose spouse is a county employee. And so we just dropped what he sent us straight into there.
Maybe y'all could elaborate, Linda, on this for me. This is my only really big question here is, I still don't see how you can vote. It's not a conflict of interest to give yourself a raise, even sitting here reading this right here. I just don't see how it's not a conflict.
But if it's bundled,
It's either a conflict or it isn't. The state says it. I just sit here and read it and I'm going, that's a conflict of interest. Okay.
But this is everything Charlie Curtis said. You put everything he said
he
into
sent
this.
what was new and what had been changed,
Okay.
and Suzanne just dropped it in there.
Okay.
I probably, if this is okay, when we get down to the final, I'll probably delete D and E on that next page down at the bottom, because in our bylaws, we don't need that. It's just things, it's kind of like rules that you could do. Then on page 7, this was the section where it said the Rules and Legislative Committee sets the agenda. So, paragraph out, and put the 3 ways that we set our agenda one coming from the committees and two, one of the four standing committees, a written request. The mayor wants it 12 days before by two commissioners, and then the third one is suspending the rules, which takes 2/3 vote. So that's the way our agenda is set. And then when the agenda items are deferred by the commission, they go to the next. I think Charlie Curtis put me a note in there about that. Then on the page 8, this is about the public comment. And I changed the title up at the top just a little bit so that it kind of sticks out that this is how the notice of the commission meeting and the agenda and the public comments work. Nothing's changed within it. I just put the notice of the meeting thing in. Page 9, we cleaned that up so that it had, I think the county clerk was sending the minutes out in our old one, so we cleaned it up. Mayor's office is responsible for the minutes. And then the main one, which I want to talk a little bit about, is on page 10. I tried to include, Drew gave me a sheet of paper. Drew gave me a sheet of paper. I tried to include what he had on there, and I can't remember where this purpose of a standing committee came from, but nothing has changed about it, but we expanded it, and I did include a lot of request things on it. On section C, on page 11, and I kind of did this on my own because we were looking at the bylaws of the planning commission, and so, what you do about this, I don't care, but the intent is that something does not get tied up into one committee and just keeps getting deferred and deferred and deferred and deferred, that at some point in time, something's got to be done. Planning commission, and we do get stuff from them, and that's why I thought maybe this should go in ours. You have 60 days to act on something, or it automatically becomes whatever
That's a state statute that
state
requires
statute.
60
But now,
days.
it does just apply to the planning commission.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, good Lord, if we got it hung up here at the commission and we had a lawsuit, we might be just as well. So what this intent is that after a couple of months, if the committee can't come up with something, form a subcommittee or form, a special committee or whatever you want to call it, or table it, like I think Diane and them did with the workhouse. At some point, you don't just keep deferring and deferring and deferring. So y'all can ponder on that one.
Yeah,
Section,
I'm not for that. I think it needs to stay like it is. I mean, you can table it, you can still do some other things under Robert's rules, and, it's just like this. We've already been 6, 7, 8 months. I mean, how are we gonna do that?
well, as long as you're moving on it, but just.
No, it says 60
Yeah.
days. We've
Well,
been several months.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I just put that in there for your thought. So whatever you want to do is
I'm not
fine.
for it personally,
Okay.
but we've got a committee here, they'll discuss it.
Okay.
They can decide.
Well, yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not for it either.
here we
Okay.
are talking about the rules, and then this is sort of violating what that says by the fact that we've taken several months for them.
Okay, we'll go on to the next one.
Well,
Linda.
that's
We won't
something
get-
y'all can ponder.
Okay.
Section E, Suzanne helped me, and we kind of reworded it. There's nothing changed about it, but just to make it read a little bit better, because Biff is to call everybody after an election to see what committee they want to be on, and then each September following that election cycle, he touches base with them. It was a horribly worded paragraph. So nothing's changed in it. Some of the other designate, some of the others just typos and stuff.
Well, I think it's, the chairperson was always involved with that, but I think they were requesting changes. But that's okay. I mean, I don't recall the chairperson was, Chairman Ray or myself, and I have called them where there's been a need, but,
I mean, we
generally,
can put the chairperson at the,
well, I'm just.
it comes back to y'all, because
yeah.
you all make the recommendation.
Okay. Well, that's maybe I'm misreading it. I'm just saying that it's usually just, requested by the commissioner. As long as that's what it says, and that's fine.
Okay, well, y'all ponder that one then. Make your little star. On page 12, on the notice of the committee meeting agenda, nothing has been changed there except just in that little title. And that we got to put it on the county website and committee. There's still controversy as to how many days you have to put it in a publication, because in some counties, there are no publications anymore. And so we took out all the days parts because it doesn't exist somewhere. So we may have to put it back in sometime if they ever get that settled. But we're putting it on the website, sending it to the paper. On section L, this is something that Charlie Curtis and Ginger and I threw around. The committee agenda in the minutes, and number 1's about the minutes. Number 2, what this is saying is that when Suzanne gives you your agenda, there will be something called an approval of agenda. We talked about putting it on the commission thing, and everybody said, no, we want it left like it is. So on your committee agenda, it'll be listed approval of the agenda. So this is what it's about. The notice of the meeting has to be done every how many days you can get something in a local circulation. The actual agenda is 48 hours. If you have this approval of agenda, then your committee, and this has always been Ginger's thing on this, is the committee can approve the agenda, and if something needs to be added, that is when it's added.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, as she's told me, you're going to get into a case where something has come in, got to be acted on. 48-hour deal, didn't maybe a little bit short on it and so forth to get it done so that you don't have to wait another month or so to do. And the committee, by approving the agenda, can add something.
So Commissioner Anderson came in tonight, and we have our agenda, committee agenda in front of us, and said, I found a buyer for this Mahindra. Can we get it immediately on the agenda so I can sell it, because it's
It
more,
could put it, if
then
the
we can
committee
approve-
approved it, it could
the
go
committee
on.
has to approve it, and then we approve the revised agenda? Is that how it
Or you
works?
just approve the,
Just approve his
when-
request, and then it goes
when
on?
the chairperson says approval of the agenda, and then it would be added at that
Okay.
point. Now, if it came through the mayor's office or something, Suzanne may have had already listed.
No, that makes sense.
yeah.
That makes sense.
And then we get into my question to point blank question to Charlie Curtis was, do the committees have to do the 48-hour public comment and all of this? He said yes. CTAS said no.
Huh.
That it was only the commission that had to do the public comment. The committees don't have to. Charlie Curtis said, yes, they need to. Now, need to and shall and what all that is, I don't know. But, Mr. Chairman, probably one of the things that Commissioner, where's Eric? Eric and I agree it would be is that any person should be able to come before these committees and speak. And it's, by doing the public comment, one, it's about the agenda. And then at the end, still anybody can speak if they want to. So I just wanted to tell you, we don't have to do section J if you don't want to.
I think
Which
we
is the
should.
public
I
comment.
think we should encourage public comment.
Yeah. I
do
Any way we
too. I
can,
do
not
too.
discourage it.
I do
Yep.
too. But Charlie said you don't have to.
Section J or section L? Which one were you talking
Well-
about?
L3.
In other words, section J, if you don't want to do that, CTAS says you don't have to. Charlie Curtis said, yes, you do. So take your pick.
Charlie Curtis. Every time. Watch on
That's
Sunday.
what I felt. And so the standing committee shall include, their little agenda will include that approval of agenda so that emergency items can be added with committee approval. And any person may address a committee other than in the public comment period, which is strictly about the agenda, but at the end of your meeting. I truly feel, Mr. Chairman, anybody ought to be able to address the
Yeah,
appropriate
I
committee.
think that would be, would it be other business? You know, you
Yeah,
can have
what do
other
we got?
business. Well, he said no. I would, when I saw that, I thought, because you have other business at the end of meetings and always have had. New goes back to,
We can change that.
I would say it'd be under other business because
Okay.
new business is already established, hadn't it?
Well, you will when you approve the agenda, yes, yes.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's no big deal. You don't have your agendas in the bylaws. So if
I would say, because there is other business, you can go to other business as a chairperson. It seems like to me it'd be other business.
other reports. Y'all have any trouble with adding that?
My thought is if you're going to approve the agenda at the beginning, which is not how we used to do it, so you had new business, you just flip that wording to be other business, or we can put new/other, or we can leave new and add other under it, whichever one you'd want to do. Because either way,
Well, if it's the end of regular business, then the others should have been taken care of. It just seems like it'd be other
okay,
business.
Okay.
yeah, we can,
And as
because that's,
chairperson, you can have other business.
sure, absolutely.
That's easy.
I've always asked.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
if something else wants to come up, they can
Absolutely.
speak then, or something can come.
Yeah.
You
And
can
I
have
don't
other
think you
business.
necessarily need the word new if you're going to approve the agenda at the beginning
Exactly.
of it would just
I
slip
agree.
into other whatever shows
Okay.
up. So for the purpose
Okay,
of structure.
But that's something you all can advise us on in a minute. The rest is just typos and things that, my question look all the way at the top of page 16. My question to Charlie Curtis, not only about our standing committees, but what about the planning commission? What about Bill's board, the ag board, He encouraged all of our committees and all of our boards to do the same, have the public comment, to let the public speak. And
The
so,
library board does.
so that's what that sentence right there is all about. All county boards and internal committees shall follow everything.
We always do and always have. First thing we do is recognize visitors right at the first meeting.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay, thank you. Mr. Yakis, any questions for him? Now, okay.
Linda, just a couple things, just two small little things I'd like to see potentially added. On page 11, section C, understanding committee chairman or chairperson and agenda, where it says on the second sentence as well, the county mayor may add an item to the standing committee agenda as he or she deems necessary. If we could add after that and notify the chairman of that appropriate committee, just so that as chairperson, if something's on there, we're at least notified ahead of time so we can have some discussion. And then on page 10, under section A, on the new section that was added, the purpose of the standing committee is to study and then so on. But at the end of that, could we put a statement that says
Let's see, last sentence. Item reviewed in committee should not be held in the committee, but rather forwarded to the full commission with or without a recommendation. And could we add, once adequate study or information has been obtained to make a recommendation? Because some things may not be fully studied yet, or some things may not have the appropriate information. And so we shouldn't, a committee shouldn't be making a recommendation for or against until they have the appropriate information. Just like with years ago, y'all had the juvenile detention that lasted multiple years or things like that. And so if we could just put that, those are the two things that stood out to me. Yeah, once adequate study or information has been obtained to make a recommendation. And again, you may want to clean that up a little bit, but just the point is that once we've got enough information and enough studies been done, then we'll make the recommendation.
Okay,
I just might comment, this goes back to that 60-day thing a little bit to me, of saying 60 days when maybe you don't have all the information and you're pushing something. I think we need to really think about the 60-day thing. I know. I understand. I just think we really think hard on that one, because that might box you into something you didn't have the info on, because maybe not everything fits in a 60-day window.
right.
Next thing you know, you didn't have all the information, and we made a mistake because we
Had to push it through.
had to push it through. So that's my concern with this right here anyway.
Well, this prime example is just what we're having right now with Charlie Curtis saying one thing
Right.
and CTAS saying the other. So we've got some conflicts.
We got to go start.
I've got a few questions as well. Does anybody else on the committee have any comments? I've got about 6 things that I looked at, and one of them that Commissioner Hooker's already addressed. Committee certainly has no independent authority. I think that's a given. I think all of them understand that, other than the finance. Now, that's true in certain circumstances, and it's not true. I don't think you got a blanket thing that the finance committee can do anything they want to. I don't like that. I don't like any of the rest of it. Now, committees have no independent authority. It's okay. From there on out, I don't like any of it. Now, the finance management person does have exceptions. Robert Daniels does have exceptions. There's no doubt about it. But there is a limit to those. He has to stay within the parameters of what it says in the 81 Act. So just to put a blanket other than the finance management, I don't like that. I don't like that comment, and it's giving them a blanket they can do anything. That's not so. They still have parameters of staying within what they're supposed to do in the 81 Act. Now, the rest of that I don't like either. Items reviewed in committee shall not be held in committee. Well, they shouldn't be. I agree with that. We're on 10. We're on 10, same thing as where Commissioner Hooker started. And then it's A. It's the red and A. I don't like I don't like it, but it's true. But there's parameters on the financial management, what they can do. You just can't give them a blanket thing that they accept and they do anything they want to. That's not strictly true. It is that they do have some independent authority, though. But I don't like that. And I understand they got independent authority. They do more so than those other 3 standing committees. Now, I don't like the last one either. It's akin to this other one over here under C. Items reviewed in committee shall not be held in committee. No, they shouldn't be, but sometimes they are, and it's left up to committee, the chairperson and the committee. It's not for someone else to decide in the rules. Forward to the full commission with or without a recommendation. That's what should happen, and I'd say 99% of it does happen, but every once in a while it doesn't. I don't know if that needs to be in the rules or not. I don't know that I disagree with it. I don't know if it needs to be in there. Now, I'm not for. Now that was under Section A, and the first part of it. The next one I had some questions about is we've already made comment on it. I said it was added, to 60 days. It referred to the committee or subcommittee for disposition. I'm for striking that. On down here under F, I'm still on 11. I'm on page 11. Our designee, all the rules does that, and it is each January. It's not our designee. The rules shall review the bylaws. every January. It's not a designate. I'm not for that, even though Linda did do this and we asked her to because of the conflict of interest and because of the ethics things that was coming up, was going to have to require some legal stuff. And I knew it was going to involve, John T's not going to do it. I knew Ginger was going to do it. And Commissioner Yaki was the person to sit down with Ginger Bobo and to do it. And we approved it. We did. So, and I think we did the right thing. I think it worked out fine. I'm just saying, I don't think that we need to have that in there now. It's not that we can't do it, but it doesn't need to be in the rules. I think the others there, I think under rules, the highway department submits a road list to us every January. The highway department submits a road list to us. And it's submitted and we approve it every January. We put it's submitted to us in December. We put it on the January agenda to be approved. The highway department submits a road list to us and we put it on the full agenda in January. That needs to be under the rules committee because it's been done every year that I've been on the roads, and it's 20-something years. Now, archives down here under financial management, it's always been in the courthouse, and it was on the courthouse property, and it's under forward. I'm still on section M. It needs to be up under courthouse and property, is my thinking. I don't know what she's doing under finance, but archives should go up here. In my opinion, as always was at courthouse and property, needs to be put up under courthouse and property. They need to submit stuff or report to them, not the finance. Because archives was here for years and years and years, and it was under courthouse and property. Now, the last thing is on 15, the ethics committee, that needs to be expanded. And I thought it was going to be, because and the county mayor does that, but it needs to be in there. It's appointed each year, but I thought you were going to expand on that. I mean,
I'm not remembering exactly refresh my memory what we talked about.
The ethics committee, this is number 6. It just says we adopted resolution, but it's appoint and reappoint each year. But it needs to say how many members there are, and it's each year. But I mean, it needs to be a little more detail.
Okay.
In there. I mean, you're
talking about the structure of the committee
Yes,
itself. Okay,
yes.
gotcha.
Yes, how many members they serve year to year, and I don't know if you need to have them from different committees. I don't know how they're selected, but I thought we followed something on that. I don't know.
Yeah, we adopted ethics policy, so we'll put
just
that
look
in
at
there.
that needs to be included there because it's sort of no, but I mean you need to put some meat on the bone. I mean that's in the rules. I mean it doesn't say anything. We need to. How many members? Does it say how many members? No, we need to know. And I'm just saying that needs to be expanded and included. That's all I've got. Those are minor things, but okay, Mr. Tom. Yes, sir.
Going back to that page 11 where the 60-day thing is, what Drew brought up I thought was very good. Would it be appropriate, and I'm just throwing out some ideas here for you all, like Drew said, once all the information is obtained on a subject or building, whatever it is you're talking about, then would 60 days come into play saying, okay, once you have all your information, you got 60 days to make a recommendation for or against whatever. At that point
Well, I think
that
he
be
was
appropriate?
talking about in section A.
yeah, he was adding that to section A, which would hit before the section C, your 60-day
Yeah.
deadline.
Well,
Would
I don't know,
would y'all
whatever-
think
It's
that
hard
would
to know
cover?
when you got all the information.
That's exactly
Well,
right.
and rightfully so, because, I mean, you could think you have it all,
Yep.
and then the very next
Something
meeting,
comes
here's a
Boom.
dump right on you again.
And so
But
if you
at
got
some
60
point in
days,
time,
then you get new information, you box yourself in.
yeah, but
Mhm.
at some point in time, you've got to have all the information that you can deal with, and then you got to make a decision what you're going to do with the.
But I don't
The
think you need to
program
put
subject.
time constraints on it. I
And-
think
and I'm good with
everybody
that.
wants to do county
Yeah.
business on
Yeah.
the duly. I don't know anybody that's drug their heels in
No,
any
I don't.
committee. Not that I recall on any
No,
issue.
I'm with you on it. I was just kind of
More like a
thinking if we
case-by-case
did that,
situation.
Right.
Well, I think so. I just don't want to be. I'm like Chris Bauer. I don't want to paint myself into a corner that you don't have to be.
Yeah.
But I've not seen anybody dragging their heels about keeping stuff in standing committee.
I'm good with it.
Okay. So we'll have to decide here on the committee, and then
Yeah.
then it'll be. And Commissioner Epson's not here, and I'd like to have her
Like to have her
input
input,
in open meeting. So and we still got some things. So there's
Yeah.
You still got changes to be made.
Yeah, it's going to have to be still redone. It looks like. So whatever the wishes of the committee, it's. I think we've
For
done
next month, hopefully we can get it done next month.
Yeah.
Motion.
Any other comments? Okay, so there's a motion to defer for another month?
Yeah, so moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. And we just need to check it, make sure it's in there. Because I thought that, the other one I had comment on the ethics committee, I thought we'd decided, I thought that should have been in there already. Number 6, last comment I made, was I thought I submitted that, but I don't know. It's not in there, but it needs to be in there. Okay, any other business to come before the committee? Okay, announcements. We do have, election. It's November 5th. We got early voting starts tomorrow. Early voting starts October 16th, which is tomorrow. You can vote, I think, election commission opens at 8. I think this week you can vote to 7, 8 to 7. Saturday you can vote, I believe, from 8 to 12 noon. So if you want to early vote, it's opening tomorrow and goes through, and it continues till the 31st. Now, I think the next week, it's about 2 weeks, I don't think they're open to 7 that next week. I think it's 6. Yeah, I think it's 8 to 6 next week. So they're not open the whole time. So, and we do have Veterans Day. The county mayor said something about it last week, and it does fall November 11th. It's on a Monday. It's the day before we meet next month, so we don't want to forget that. And then daylight savings time, we fall back. That's November the 3rd. That's coming up at the end of the month.
Too bad we can't do something about that.
Yeah, we.
Because I would sure vote to do it. You're away with it.
Yeah, can we get
One
that
way or
on
the other.
agenda?
Maybe we can defer it.
Oh, I don't
to
think
Thursday.
we can do it here. I don't think a resolution going to work on that.
Yeah, I know.
Any other announcements? Yes, County Mayor. 4, okay. Okay, thank you. Good. I didn't know it was going to be then, so thank you for bringing that up, County Mayor. Okay. Okay. Okay, any other announcements, comments?
One quick one. The last home football game for Shelbyville in the senior night is Friday night against Lawrenceburg. Last chance to catch them for the playoffs. Having a good year.
Do they play Tullahoma the last game of the year?
Play Lawrence
And-
County here, Lincoln County on the road, Tullahoma. on the road.
Tullahoma last game.
Correct. That's gonna be 2 big region games at the very end.
Always is.
Always is.